Hey, everybody. Welcome back to The Witch's Key. Welcome, welcome. I'm so excited that you're here. I was like, oh my gosh, I wonder if anybody will still show up on Monday. A little bit different as we are getting to the very conclusion of the story. I love the beanies. That makes me so excited. Thank you to everybody who has ordered Sir Bean swag. Oh, I didn't grab the cup again. I still kept the cup, but you guys are amazing. I could not believe how much Sir Bean swag was ordered. You guys are crazy and you make me so happy. This was just something we kind of did on a whim, and it was like, who knows if anybody wants Sir Bean t-shirts, but you guys really came through and I appreciate it. I'm so excited. If you did not make it to the last episode, we do have Sir Bean swag, coffee and cupcakes swag. That is a mug, various t-shirts. We did add some t-shirts since last time because there were some shirts that just didn't go up high enough in size. So we went and looked through and found a couple that have some better options for everybody. So we should have everything from, like, I believe extra small all the way to 5XL. So hopefully that'll accommodate everybody. If not, then just message me and we'll see what else we can do. There are also stickers and lots of fun stuff. So thank you guys so much for ordering. I could not believe how many people were at the finale and how much fun we had. Also, if you didn't hear, The Witch's Key is up for pre-order. That is amazing because I don't usually do pre-orders because of various reasons. And I thought, okay, I'm going to put it up for pre-order, but since you guys have listened to it for free, I just wasn't sure if you'd really be interested in purchasing it and buying it. I don't know what my hair is doing there. It's like, who knows? But you guys blew me away because I have sold so many on pre-order. I really, really appreciate it. I am going to be, over the next few weeks, really cleaning up this book, fixing little things, fixing all the typos, any little errors, really tightening up the story. But with this epilogue, it is almost exactly 80,000 words. So it's insane. I thought this book was like, I thought it was going to be a novella, 25,000 words or 30,000 words. And it's 80,000 words. And I have written the majority of that since March 27th. So it's been exhilarating and super fun. So we are going to clean it up. My few beta readers that I have are waiting, hopefully, to get it. And then it will go through my professional editor, and then it will go up on May 19th. So hopefully you guys will enjoy the changes if you are picking it up. And then what we will do after that. So just to go through it one more time, I am now going to be continuing to go live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So today we'll have the epilogue and we're going to talk a little bit, not too much because I'm not feeling honestly too great today, but we will have the epilogue today, which is 7 pages. So it's beefy. I mean, it's a nice long epilogue. Then Monday or Wednesday, we'll talk a little bit about like story structure and answer any questions that you guys have about the story or where we might be going. I won't give too much spoilers, but I can answer a few things, and we'll have oh no, I haven't answered that, Carol. I'll answer that in a minute. The Wednesday one will be mostly just a chatting, and you can send questions if you want me to answer anything. Then on Friday, we're going to hopefully have kind of a little casting. So some people in the coven have already been putting their guesses for what they think people are going to be, like what actors or actresses would be playing the role. So that is going to be a fun day on Friday. So I hope that you will definitely still join us for the rest of this week. Then next week, we'll still go Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But I was going to read Loxley, but I have changed my mind for very good reason. So next week, we are actually going to read my story called Red. Look, I have black soot on my finger. I just noticed that from lighting that candle and sticking the the lighter in there. So I have black soot on me. Hopefully I don't get it on my face. You can bring it in. No, use the other door. Say hi. Oh, what do you have? So this is the Serbean logo. Let me turn this light off so you can see it better for those of you that missed it the other day. This is just me and my Starbucks from the other day. I just put this on. I know most of you guys saw it, but this is our Serbean logo, our knight riding a coffee cup, and he will reappear. There will still continue to be many Serbean appearances in the second book as well. But I will be reading Red next week, and I'm going to tell you before we get started a very, very exciting reason why. So long story short, I'm going to try to tell it short, but when I first decided that I was not going to try to become traditionally published, where you get an agent and a publisher, that I was going to start my own publishing company and I was going to, write my own books and publish them myself. Back when I started doing it in 2010, very few people were doing this. And so I was taking a big risk, but I knew that I wanted to get my stories in the hands of readers my way. You can call me a control freak or passionate, whichever one you want to do, but I wanted to do it my way. And so I had to make a tough decision because back in 2010, bookstores wouldn't carry a lot of bookstores, physical bookstores wouldn't carry our books. There was a lot of bias against indie authors. And there was no way to get onto bestseller lists like the New York Times bestseller list or the USA Today bestseller list. So when I decided to go indie and start my own publishing company and sell my books myself, I made the decision that I was going to give up the opportunity to ever be on one of those bestseller lists. And so I really haven't focused on it too much. Even though I've sold almost 750,000 books, I have never sold enough books in 1 week to hit the USA Today bestseller list, because years after I started, they started realizing, well, indies actually sell a lot of books and there's a lot of good indies selling great books. So we have to include them on these lists if we're really going to call them bestseller lists. So we went and I went together with some of my friends and we have got a BookBub feature deal next week on that anthology that's called Once Upon a Kiss. So the first book, Ella and the Haunted House, that I read for you, the short story, then that one was in Once Upon a Ghost, which is the one that just came out. Once Upon a Kiss is one that came out maybe a couple of years ago, and it has my story Red, which is based on Little Red Riding Hood. Next week, me and the authors in that group are going to try to hit the USA Today bestseller list, which basically means that in order to do it, we have to sell probably at least 5,000 copies from Monday to Sunday of next week. So starting on Monday, May 4th, that's when the sales start counting for the list for next week. Or for the week after. Now, I have never really put myself out there and tried to hit the list. I came very, very close 2 times. Demons Forever, which is my 6th book in the series, came very close. Then my book, The Trouble with Goodbye, before it was a free book, was so very close. That week I needed to sell about 4,500 books, and instead I sold 3,900. So I was about 600 sales short. And just because of the way the list works, it's like you could sell 4,500 books, but if you sell them from Sunday to Saturday, you don't hit the list. It has to be from Monday to Sunday. And that's just how the list works. So we are going to be trying to hit. It's very difficult to do. There's no guarantee that we are. But I decided I would go ahead and read Red for you guys next week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. The book will also be going down to 99 cents and it'll be available everywhere. And we really particularly this is not pre-order. This is a book called Once Upon a Kiss that's already out. And some of you probably already have it, so you can't rebuy it. But you could actually, if you really wanted to support me, if you bought it on Amazon, you could go and buy it someplace like Apple Books or Barnes & Noble. Google Play Books sadly does not count for the list, but Kobo Books, Barnes & Noble, and Apple Books do count for the list. So even if you already have it on Amazon, if you have an extra $1 to spare next week, you can buy it over at Kobo Books or Barnes & Noble Books, and you can help us hit the list. So I'll explain that a little bit next week. And of course, it's just one of those kinds of things. So, or you could gift it. Carol is right too. It's going to be 99 cents next week, but it won't drop in price until Monday, and the sales don't start counting until Monday. So if you guys want to help me hit that list along with some of my good friends like Deborah Dunbar and some of my other friends on that book set, then I will, I will definitely let you guys know more about it next Monday. So don't buy it yet because it will not count. It only will start counting on Monday, but I think we have a shot and I will keep you guys updated. It would just be super, super awesome. It's always better if you can hit it just on your own without a group, but it's still exciting and it still counts and it still makes you forever for the rest of your life a USA Today bestseller if you hit it in a group. So it's going to be good. No purchases in the UK do not count. It's only for the US. So it's fine if you can't buy it. If you're not in the United States, you can always still support it if you want to read the book. But I'm going to read that story because that's the story that's in that anthology. So long story short, except I still said it long. Next week, pay attention for some news on how to help us hit that list, and we'll keep going and see what happens. Okay. Whew. That being said, it is time to read the epilogue. I got a little bit emotional. Yeah, don't order it yet. Order it next week. I will let you guys know. But thank you so much for the support and all the shout out. I would definitely be happy to make the USA Today bestseller list, whether it's in an anthology or all by myself. It will count if you buy it from the US Amazon, but not if you buy it outside of the United States. So, but if you buy it on Amazon.com, it should count. And that's it, guys. I'll explain more about it on Monday. If you have any questions, but for now, I want to go ahead and get this going. It's only 7 pages and the 7th page has 1 line on it. So it's kind of really only 6 pages, but I hope you guys enjoy this. I got a little bit emotional as I was finishing it up because I haven't actually finished an entire book, even the rough draft, in over a year and a half. So it just felt so good and so life affirming, like, I can do this. I didn't forget how to write a book. This is actually real. And I've just finished a book. So yeah, it's very exciting. So with the question, like, can you get someone in the US to gift it to someone in the UK? No, I don't think so. I think that if it has to be purchased in the United States and it has to be claimed in the United States for it to count. But I appreciate that you guys are like trying to think of ways to help because that's super helpful. I don't know. I hope we can do it. We're going to try, but we'll see. I won't be too disappointed if it doesn't happen because, like I said, when I first went indie, I was like, well, it'll never happen anyway, and I'm okay with that. But it's going to be fun. Okay. Also, just as another exciting thing, my Heart Breathing's YouTube channel hit 30,000 subscribers yesterday too. So I feel like the good news just keeps coming and it kind of makes me feel super overwhelmed. So there have been some tears over the last few days. So I appreciate y'all's support. I can't even express to you how much it means to me. It really, really does. All right. So are you ready for the wrap up, resolution, and maybe a little bit of tease for what's happening next time? Now, I will say, if you're familiar with my Shadow Demon saga and the types of cliffhanger-ish type stuff that I leave you guys on, I will promise you I did not leave you on that much of a cliffhanger this time because I'm not sure how much longer you're going to have to wait till we start season 2. So we just are going to ease out of this book and then move on, but there will be questions. All right. Epilogue, A Witch's Door. As it turned out, trapping a powerful demon in a mirror, even when you had a lot of help, could take a lot out of a girl. The last thing I remembered from the night we banished Algrath was passing out beside the demon's circle. Well, that and the feel of Kai's arms under me before I hit the ground. I spent the rest of the weekend fading in and out of consciousness. Every once in a while, I woke up in a panic from a dream about being chased through the woods, but every single time I awoke, Someone was there at my side to comfort me and give me something to eat or drink before I fell asleep again. Martin, Kai, Asher, they were the ones I saw most often, but it seemed everyone, even Gianna, had taken turns watching out for me. I remembered waking up once and asking about the other girls and being assured they were all safe. Even Brandy and Olive had been allowed to go home after it was determined their actions were greatly influenced by the demon's manipulations. Everyone's memories had been wiped clean of what happened to them, and another, more believable story about a serial killer on the loose was given in its place. Satisfied that everyone was okay and I wasn't needed, I allowed myself to sleep again, getting lost in dreams for longer than I realized. Then, late one afternoon, when the light coming in through the window was already beginning to fade into evening, I woke to the distinct feeling that it was really done. Whatever side effects I'd suffered from Algreth's banishment had worked their way through my system, and I had somehow managed to find myself on the other side. This time, it was Kai watching over me, except he was actually sitting on the roof outside my window, watching the beginning of the sunset. I stood on shaky legs and joined him, placing a hand on his arm and leaning against him for support. "My own personal guardian angel," I whispered. In some ways, it still stung to think he was only looking out for me because of the promise his father made to my parents. But no matter why he was here, I was grateful for him. "Half angel," he whispered, turning his head slightly and pressing his lips to my forehead. I closed my eyes and focused on the feeling of warmth and safety that radiated through me. "Half is good enough for me," I said softly. "How long have I been asleep?" "A few days, off and on," he said. "Martin said someone your age with only a single key has never taken part in such a powerful ritual before. He doesn't expect you to really wake up for another day or two." He smiled and put his arm around me. "Overachiever," he whispered. "Yeah, that's me," I said with a gentle laugh. "The only person to ever simultaneously be a constant disappointment and an overachiever." I was only partly joking about the first part, but Kai's expression grew serious, and he shook his head. "You saved everyone," he said. "If you hadn't acted when you did, it would have been too late. Martin and the others got there as fast as they could, but Algreth had set up all kinds of traps in the woods. It took them too long to get through it all. If Algreth had started that ritual, they would have been too late to stop him, and we all probably would have died." I shivered, thinking of just how close we were to death. "What was his plan for you, anyway?" I asked. "Do you know?" Kai shrugged and put his hand on mine. "I guess we'll never know for sure, but everyone seems to think Algreth was planning to let his brother consume me and my power," Kai said. "Everyone who was there had a role to play in bringing Regmathian back up to full strength as quickly as possible. If you hadn't stopped Algreth, who knows how many would have died once his brother was restored to health." "And your father?" I asked. "Any news on where he is or what he was doing here?" Kai swallowed and looked back out to the sunset that colored the sky outside my window. "Nothing," he said. "But Algreth didn't have my father's powers. I could at least tell that much." I squeezed his arm. "Then he might still be alive," I said. "That's good news, right?" "I hope so," Kai said. "I've been searching for so long. I just want answers." A wave of sadness washed over me, and I clung to him a little tighter. "What will you do now, then?" I asked, unable to stop my voice from trembling. "I guess you'll be heading out to look for him again." I held my breath as I waited for him to speak. I understood why he needed to keep looking for answers, but at the same time, I wasn't ready to say goodbye. "Do you really think I'd leave just like that?" he asked. I turned, looking into his eyes, my heart pounding nervously. "I don't know," I said. "I know how badly you want to find him. I wouldn't blame you if you felt you needed to go." Kai's dark eyes searched mine, and then he pulled his arm away and began to fidget. My mouth suddenly went dry. We'd never really had a chance to say how we felt about each other, but I was so scared I'd imagined it to be more than it really was. What if he only cared out of obligation? I wasn't sure my heart could take more disappointment after finding out the truth about my new friends. Two of them had been willing to murder me for beauty, and the other had been a demon. My track record for friendships in Newcastle wasn't exactly looking good right now. "I never really got a chance to tell you about that time we first met in Romania," he said. He kept his eyes toward the sunset, and his golden skin seemed to glow in the half-light. "My mother had just recently passed away, and even though I had my father, I had never been as close to him as I had been to her. He was always busy, and even though you might think angels are always loving and caring, he was difficult to get close to when I was young. I always got the feeling he didn't quite know what to do with me or how to care for me." I blinked back tears, imagining a young Kai feeling so alone, losing his mother so young. I wanted to pull him close, but he seemed to need his space. "Back then, I remember feeling so alone," he said, looking into the distance. "I honestly wasn't sure if I would ever be able to open my heart up to anyone again. I just felt empty, hopeless in a lot of ways." I closed my eyes, my heart breaking for him. He turned to me then, his eyes full of tears. "When we went to visit your parents, I had just gotten into an argument with my father. I went into an empty room in your house to cry, and you found me," he said. "I thought for sure you were going to make fun of me or go tell my dad where I was, but you didn't. Do you remember what you did?" I shook my head, locked somewhere inside. I had a small memory of a beautiful boy crying in a small room all alone, but I hadn't ever put it together until just now that it was him. The corners of his mouth twitched into a smile, and he brushed the back of his fingers across my cheek. "You walked in and sat down next to me on the floor," he said, taking my hand in his. "You slipped your hand into mine and told me it was okay to cry, that sometimes even the strongest people in the world needed to cry." A tear slipped down his cheek, but he didn't move to brush it away. He simply pulled me closer. "It was such a simple moment," he said, "but it was an act of kindness that changed me forever. I had been spending all of my time with an angel, expecting him to teach me about unconditional love. But in the end, it was a human child that reminded me of my own strength. You may not remember it now, but you helped me hold on to my humanity. And because of that, I have also held on to my mother and who she really was. I can never repay you for that." I gripped his hand tightly. "You don't have to repay me," I said, "and you don't have to stay because of your father's promise to my parents either." He shook his head. "I'm not going anywhere, Lenny, but I'm not staying because I feel obligated to. I'm staying because I think I'm falling in love with you," he said, his voice hitching slightly on the words. I always imagined my first real kiss would be awkward and strange, or that I would be full of doubt when the time came. But when Kai spoke those words, I felt nothing but absolute certainty inside. I slid my arms around his neck and pressed my lips against his. There was nothing awkward about it at all. Instead, I felt a rush of joy and love and warmth that buzzed through me from head to toe. When I realized what I'd done, though, I pulled away, my face flushed. "Still impulsive, I see," Kai said, trying to hide his smile and failing miserably. Nerves knotted at my stomach. "I'm sorry," I said. "I don't know why." But before I could say another word, he pulled me into another kiss. I sighed and leaned against him, definitely awake now and happier than I'd been in a very long time. We sat together, watching the last of the sun's light disappear behind the houses. "Everyone is waiting to see you," he said, "and I know Martin will want to talk to you." I nodded. We should go downstairs then. I was anxious to know how the girls were doing and what we were expected to do from here, but I was also sad to leave our little private perch outside the window. When we got downstairs, though, I was so happy to see everyone gathered together in the kitchen eating dinner. They were all so relieved to see me awake and feeling better. "I told you she'd recover fast," Darius said. "She's a warrior just like her father." "You mean a fighter just like her mom," Gianna said with a smile. "She's a natural, just like the generations of thorns before her," Martin said, pulling me into a hug. "I am so proud of you, my dear girl. When I learned we'd been tricked, I was so scared I might lose you. But it turns out I shouldn't have been scared at all. You did very well, Lenora, and I am proud of you." "Lenny?" A woman walked into the room, her face showing signs of vulnerability like I'd never seen before. "Miss Greer?" I looked to Martin. What is she doing here? Had she come to tell us that the council was bringing us in? "Just hear her out," Martin said, pulling a chair out for me. I sat down, my heart racing. I had no idea what she could say that would make all of this okay. "You were right to question the council," Miss Greer said. "I couldn't tell you at the time, but I'd been petitioning for them to look into the Algrath situation for a very long time. Being a keeper is complicated, as Martin can confirm. I answer to the council, so the decision of whether or not to intervene was not mine to make." I picked at the napkin on the table. I heard what she was saying, but I wasn't sure if I could forgive her for not standing up to the council. Plus, I still wasn't sure if Algrath had been telling the truth about my parents' death or not. Had the council been involved? Had my parents been killed just to get me here? "I know you have a lot of questions," Miss Greer said. "I have those same questions, but finding the answer is not going to be as easy as simply walking in and asking the council for truth. For now, the council seems to be looking the other way when it comes to the actions of the slayers in this room, but I have a feeling that's more to protect themselves than all of you. If we want real answers, we have to be smart about how we go looking for them. Do you understand?" I shook my head. "Not really. I just want to know what happened," I said. "And if the council really offered me up as a sacrifice to gain favor with demons, what are we going to do about it? Am I just supposed to pretend it didn't happen and go about my life as a good little slayer? Because I don't know if I can do that." "There's no doubt in my mind some of the council was involved," Blythe Greer said, her jaw tight. "Our job now is to figure out who is on our side and who betrayed us." "And once we find them?" I asked, looking at Martin. "They'll wish they never heard the name Thorn," Martin said, sipping his coffee casually. "Of that, I can assure you." I sat back in my chair, relieved. The council wasn't coming after us, at least for now. And if there really was a split in the coven and some of our members were working with demons, I had a feeling the group in this room was just as determined to find out the truth as I was. "There is one thing the council wanted me to bring to you, though," Miss Greer said, setting a small package down in front of me before she walked around to the other side of the table to take her seat. "Congratulations, Lenny." Eyes wide, I tore open the package and gasped. I ran my fingertips across the smooth silver of the key inside. This one was slightly more ornate than my first key, and it had a tiny emerald embedded in the center. "But I haven't even taken my test yet." "The council has decided that, considering your role in capturing a demon of Algrath's was from the inside." Is it unstuck now? Oh no. It's still frozen for so many of you. Oh no. I'm back for some people. No. I can hear me up on George's computer. Okay. After you said the demon's name. Okay, let's see where we have to go back to. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so you know she got her key. Let's see. Okay. I'm just going to go back to her key. Eyes wide, I tore open the package and gasped. I ran my fingertips across the smooth silver of the key inside. This one was slightly more ornate than my first key, and it had a tiny emerald embedded in its center. But I haven't even taken my test yet. The council has decided that considering your role in capturing a demon of Algrath's power, you have already passed the first test, she said. That is, if you're willing to accept your place as a slayer in the coven. I took a deep breath. It was a big decision, but I knew now I could never turn my back on magic. It was a part of who I was, and even if there were problems with the coven and its leadership, the best place for me to fight back and protect the lives of the innocent was from the inside. I am, I said. Then it's a celebration dinner, Gowan said, giving me a wink. Laughter and congratulations rang out as we all gathered together. A team, now bound together by an experience we would never forget and sworn to find out the truth about the council. A family. When dinner was over and our guests had either left or retired for the night, Martin pulled me aside and studied the key with admiration. I was sure he'd seen many second keys in his day, but it just went to show how much he loved me, that he was still proud of me for getting mine. Not many slayers get a second key without taking their test, he said. You should be very proud of yourself, Linny. I have no doubt your parents would have been very proud of you and the witch you have become. I still have a long way to go, I said, but I'm willing to learn. And that's what matters, Martin said, placing an arm around my shoulders as he led me back toward his study. And speaking of learning, you do have to go back to school tomorrow. I groaned. You've got to be kidding me, I said. Why can't I just stay home? If I'm going to be a slayer, why do I even need high school? I know how difficult it was to feel so betrayed, Martin said, but there is a lot normal human life can teach you about being a better witch and a better slayer. Trust me. I nodded, not happy about it, but I knew from the tone of his voice that I wasn't going to talk him out of it. To my surprise, he stopped several feet shy of his study and turned toward the wall of the long hallway. After school, of course, your real education will begin, he said, tapping on the wall to reveal a large mahogany door with more than a dozen keyholes. This is a witch's door, and tomorrow I will show you how it works and what treasures lie inside. But for now, get some rest. Tomorrow is a big day. I stared, open-mouthed, at the large door and then at Martin. How many secrets were still locked away inside him and inside this house? I went up on my tiptoes and kissed his weathered cheek. I love you, I said. Thank you for everything. He smiled, and I could have sworn tears sparkled in his ancient eyes for just a moment before he pulled himself together again. I love you too, he said. And I knew that he did. The next day, I shook my head as I fumbled with the stupid lock on my locker. I could trap a demon in a mirror, but I couldn't even open a simple lock. It was too bad I couldn't use my magic out here in the open. It would have really come in handy about now. I turned to search for Kai, but he was taking the rest of the week off to tie up some loose ends and follow one final lead about his dad. He promised he'd be back at school with me on Monday, but for now, I was on my own. I had never felt so lonely. Frustrated, I pushed away from the locker to head toward homeroom, but as I did, I backed into someone and dropped all of my books on the floor. I dropped down, hurrying to gather my scattered papers. A girl dropped down toward the floor with me, her blonde hair pulled back in a ponytail and her eyes sparkling. "I'm so sorry. I'm totally clumsy," she said, laughing. I took a deep breath, trying my best to hold back tears. I had expected the girls to all be out of school for a while, despite the fact that they were all safe and no one had been seriously injured. Martin refused to explain to me how their memories had been wiped, insisting those were secrets I didn't need to know about just yet. But I still hadn't expected to see her so soon. If I'd known I was going to run into her, I would have prepared myself emotionally. Now, though, my heart felt overwhelmed. "You're the new girl, right?" she asked with a smile that made me wonder if we really could be friends after all. "I heard about you. What's your name again?" "Lenora," I said, "but my friends call me Lenny." "Well, Lenny, it's very nice to meet you," she said, holding her hand out to me. "My name is Peyton." I don't know why I'm crying. Sorry. I think it's just because I haven't finished a book in so long that it just is like, oh my gosh, I really finished it. Sorry. Can I pause it for a second? I'm sorry, you guys. Thank you so much for being on this journey. It really means a lot to me. Dang it. I didn't expect to cry. I think I always cry at the end of books, but usually nobody sees it. Oh. Okay. You want to come give me a hug?
Huggy.
Thank you. So sorry. Oh man, it feels so good to finish a book and to feel. I always love it when that feeling of that ending scene, just feels like, okay, I got it right, it's like something just snaps into place inside of me that says, like, I know there's things to fix about the book and there's things to tighten up, but there's just this feeling of like, I did it and I know it feels good and it feels right. Like the book exists somewhere outside of me and I am just the person typing the words, and I don't know. It just feels good. Okay. Just need a minute. So more questions, but I didn't leave you guys really on a cliffhanger. Instead, I decided to go for something that just felt like it had resonance, I think is the right word. So hopefully it resonated for you and feels good and that you're excited to move on to The Witch's Door. I probably will be calling it still The Witch's Key, and it'll just be Witch's Key Season 2, but Season 2 will have its own name. I don't know. I haven't fully decided. What are you going to be like writing The Last Shadow Demons after 10 years of it? Oh my gosh. I mean, Kelsey, I don't even know what it's going to be like writing the Last Shadow Demon Saga book. I don't want to give a spoiler, but there's a moment in book 9 in the arena towards the end. For those of you that know what's happening there with Erden, that when I wrote that scene of like something I had been thinking about and leading up to that scene for years, I was like a baby, just like bawling my eyes out. So, and plus when I finished Demons Forever, which is like the ending of a cycle of that story, the first 6 books, I was such a mess. You can ask George, like I was like when I was writing the end of Demons Forever, I would write a little bit and then I would literally fall. This sounds so dramatic, but it's true. I would literally fall to the floor and cry and then have to get back up and keep writing. So writing is a very emotional thing. Yeah, Nilda, I could call it The Witch's Key, The Witch's Door, or The Witch's Key Season 2, The Witch's Door. So I don't know. We'll figure it out as we go. But I'm so glad that you guys enjoyed it too and that you're not making fun of me for crying. I know it's kind of crazy. I've got a baby over here too with George. So yeah, she's not crying, but she was being a little bit loud, huh? Did you want to be on TV? Her little second tooth just pushed through last night. So she's been a little bit fussy again. But she's got that little second tooth coming through. Say hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Edith says, I'm glad to know you cried writing Shadow Demons because I cried reading it. Thank you. I really don't know how I'll handle writing the last one of that book because that series, because I've been writing that for 10 years. So it's going to be kind of tough for sure. I think Andrew's upstairs. He gets screen time at 4:30. So I think as soon as 4:30 hits, he like gives me a hug and then he's like, okay, I'm going to play some Roblox. The Witch's Door.
Still watching, did you hear him?
Oh,
he just said it's 4:30.
So I said that, but he was still watching. He's like, it's 4:30. I have screens. He didn't even realize it. That's so funny. Yeah, I think just being able to, there's something about like getting a story out of you that has lived in you. And Carol asked and reminded me a little while ago before I started reading about the scene that originally made me want to write this. So the scene that I had in my dream was the scene where she pulls the demon into the circle. So that kind of twisty moment, I had this image of a girl running through the woods. And in my dream, I thought she's in trouble. She's about to die. Like what's happening to her? And then when she turns around, she's super, super scared. But then when the demon gets locked in the circle, she smiled. And that was my whole inspiration behind this entire story, was that moment where she tricks the demon into the circle. And I think that say bye-bye. Say bye-bye. Yeah. I think that as I was writing it, it was like, oh, can I actually pull this off or not? I have no idea. And somehow I managed to pull it off, I think. And hopefully in the rewrites and stuff like that, I can actually do it even better. So we'll just have to see. So Mikkel, the coven is actually linked down below, and I think I can put a link in here. It should just be facebook.com/groups/Sarah Cannon's coven. I think that should be the link. I don't know if you'll be able to click on that from here, but you might be able to grab it and copy and paste. But I think that the cool thing for me is sometimes when I have just that one little piece of a scene and a whole story comes out of it. Because like I said, it's also something that was the impetus or the idea behind my book, The Haunting of Luna Day, which hasn't been finished yet, but that also came from that similar kind of scene. And Beautiful Demons also sort of came, the very first scene that I saw is the very first scene that I wrote, was Harper in the car, and she's arguing with this woman about how it wasn't her fault, and the change starts rattling. That was really what I saw. I was like, oh, that would be so cool, of like a girl that can't really control her power and doesn't really know what's happening to her. And so those kind of things, when they come to me, I'd have to kind of jump on it because it's so, I know I'm going to write those stories eventually, kind of like a little gift given to me when I'm sleeping or something like that. So yeah, that's crazy time. So Vanessa said, how soon will we get season 2? So I'm going to get to it as soon as I can. I don't want to let you guys hang too long because I know that, you know, it's hard to wait for stuff and you guys have already been waiting. And I also know that there are some people that feel upset with me for writing this because I have other books that they're waiting on, and that's a valid feeling. And I totally understand feeling that way. But overall, why I decided to write something new is because it really came from a feeling of, I want to give back to the community and do something that's going to get our mind off the world as it is. And I just felt I am somebody who just trusts her intuition, and whether or not people are going to be upset about me, I just have to follow my heart and do what I think is going to be best for myself and for the community. And I thought, I could read something I had previously written, but it would be so much more interesting to be reading something brand new. And I think that was the right decision because none of us, including me, knew exactly how the story would go. So that's how it is. But I have had several people say to me, please finish the books you're supposed to write before you keep working on this one. So that's kind of a harsh thing to hear, but I totally understand that it is actually a valid way to feel. So I am doing the best I can to work on Fate's Surrender and the books that I had already promised people. And then I've been working on this at night. But the problem is, as George has kind of indicated in some of the comments, is that it's not really sustainable for me to work from the minute I get up until the minute I go to bed. We need time together as a couple and time together as a family. And I need downtime when I'm not working. So as much as I have enjoyed this with all my heart, I do also have to be careful that I don't burn out or get too much time taken from my family. So what I'm going to do is continue, like I said, to go live. We'll do a Q&A type thing on Wednesday. We'll talk about casting on Friday, which should be really fun. And I'll show you guys kind of who I see as the characters and continue. Christabel did put something in the Sarah Cannon's Coven Facebook group where people can say what they think the characters look like or who you think should play this person. So keep giving me ideas and I'll share some of those on Friday with a screen share for you guys. And that'll be super fun. There will also be some more giveaways coming up on Friday. Another Demons paperback. There will be just, I don't know, maybe some posters and some other things coming up as a giveaway on Friday. And one of the giveaways is going to be for people that have used our hashtags throughout the week on social media, which is hashtag Sir Bean, hashtag MOONDUST CUPCAKES, and the hashtag Bellish Challenge, which is the challenge to do a before and after of your hair getting spelled to make it look pretty. I have loved all of those things, and it makes me so excited to just to see all the hashtags and all the fun that everybody's been having. So, Laura, you're right that we can't please everybody, but also at the same time, it's like my fans do truly matter to me, and I do hate to disappoint anyone and make you wait. I wish that I could write this fast all the time, but I am just a creature of inspiration. And when things are hard for me, they're hard for me. And when things are flowing, they're flowing. And so we'll just see how it goes. But I do anticipate that I will be putting my book, Fate's Surrender, which is the third and final book in my Eternal Sorrows series, will be going up for pre-order for June. And I'm going to take some time and finish it over the next couple of weeks. It is very close to being done in terms of the rough draft. So I just need to keep going. Then next week, I will read my story Red. It is a little bit more adult. So I need to read through it. It's not sexy, but it is, I don't know. I don't remember if there's maybe a bad word or two, but it's more of like the heroine is more of a new adult, like 18 years old-ish. And so just as a little bit of a warning there, it's not super adult, like inappropriate. I would read it to Andrew and it would be fine, but just as a little bit warning, it's a little bit more adult than this. So I'll be reading that on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday of next week. And we'll be going for the USA Today bestseller list. We're going to try. We'll see what happens. I would appreciate your support on that. The following week, then I will read Loxley. So that'll be at least 2 weeks to read other stories. So yes, after Red, I will read Loxley the next week. After that, we'll see where we are. I'm not going to promise that season 2 will already be started. I think that for my own health and well-being, it would be good for me to have a couple of weeks of content of season 2 ready to go so that I'm not like writing it all the day before, because that has been, really tough. And it's just going to be 3 days a week instead of 6 days a week. It'll just be 3 episodes a week. So it'll take a little longer to get through season 2. And hopefully that'll be super fun. And that will give me the time to go live, but also it will give me a chance to work on my other books, because as many of you know, Demons book 11 is next, and there is still a Shadow Demon Saga book 12, which will be the final book in the series. And everything that happens in book 11 is setting up that final book in this series that has taken me an entire decade to write. So I have really had this idea in my head. It may or may not happen, but I've had this idea in my head of how cool would it be if I could get the 12th book out on the 10th anniversary of when I published the first book, which is October 29th. So that's kind of my like fingers crossed. I really think that would just feel really good. Yes, I will send out a newsletter about the sale to help hit the USA Today bestseller list on Monday of next week. And then I will probably send another reminder out on Friday for anybody that didn't open that email. I don't want to spam everybody on my list, but I will definitely be putting that out there. So if you want to get to my newsletter, you can go to sarahcannon.com. And it's just right there in the front page. You can just sign up there. Another way is you can go to my Facebook page, facebook.com/sarahcannon, and there's a link to sign up there as well. So I will send that out. And yes, so Carol was asking too, so would the read along go from August through then? So this is part of what I have to work through, is I want to do the Shadow Demon Saga read along between books 11 and 12. This would not be me reading the whole series to you guys, because it would take me a really, really long time to read. It's like 1,000,000 words in the whole series. So I just don't have time to read all of that. But what I was hoping to do is every week we read a book together. So like it's muted. Like it would be like a book club. So instead of me reading to you, it would be like, okay, here's our book of the week is Beautiful Demons. And then we would have some discussion about it. And I do want to do that. Whether I will do it here on YouTube or in the Facebook group, I'm not sure. I have a lot of decisions to make about it. My typing is silent. It's this keyboard that I have. It's kind of crazy. So will my Heart Breathing subscribers get the email too? Yes, I am actually going to send it out to Heart Breathings as well, because I have such a big list over there too. We're going to pull out all the stops and try to hit the list. Hopefully it won't be annoying to anybody to be like, please buy my book, because I really don't talk about my buying my books too much on Heart Breathings, because I know it's more for writers, but I'm going to be like, help me hit the list. If I don't hit the list with this anthology, I am going to try again, because it went on my vision board for 2020 to try to hit the USA Today bestseller list. And before I knew about this opportunity with the anthology, I had already decided that I was going to try to hit the list with a box set that I'll be putting out of the Shadow Demon Saga, all the way from book 1 to book 6, as well as A Demon's Wrath and season 1 of Sacrifice Me. So I'm going to put that all into a box set, and I'm going to try to hit the list with that. So if this doesn't work, I'll be hitting you guys up again sometime this summer, and we'll see if we can try for it one more time. All right, guys. So yes, you can buy the book as a gift. So any sale in the United States that is claimed in the United States will count toward the list, and that would be super helpful. So anything like that would be awesome. All right, guys. So that is all we have for today. And that is the end of The Witch's Key. I'm sorry. Hey, baby. I am sorry that I cried, but I couldn't help it. It was amazing. And it felt so good to finish that book. And I just appreciate you guys so much for being a part of this and for helping to support me. George, you could actually come down so they can see what you look like if you want. So this is George's face. So yeah, I mean, it just means a lot. I really appreciate you all. And thank you so much. Pre-order the book if you enjoyed it and you want to see how it turns out. And Yeah, it'll be out on May 19th. Yes, I saw some people asking about paperback. There will be a paperback. As far as I anticipate it right now, it will still have the cover that you guys have seen on this. Now, somebody mentioned the cover for this is not done by my normal cover artist. So I probably will, unless you guys are like super attached to this particular cover, I probably will have Raven do a different cover. I love this cover. Dark Unicorn Design. She did an amazing job, but this cover was not created specifically for this book. It was a cover that was a pre-made cover. So I would love to have a new cover that was made just for this, unless you guys are like, no, don't change the cover. But it probably won't be ready by the time the paperback is coming out. Will you be holding a writing class anytime soon? So I am not planning on necessarily holding a writing class, but I do have the Heart Breathings channel, and I am going to, on Wednesday, go through some of the story structure for anybody that's interested. So on the live on Wednesday, I'm going to talk a little bit about story structure. And then next, I don't know if it'll start next week or the week after, I'm going to do an entire series on how to write a series. So it'll be maybe 5 or 6 videos for how to write a series that will go up on my Heart Breathings channel, not this one. Moana, we got to get swag for Shadow Demons. I totally agree. We've got the guy that did the Sir Bean logo is going to be, hopefully, he said he was interested in doing a Venom logo for us. So lots of fun stuff coming up. Thank you guys so much. Sounds like a live you need a notebook for. And if you are interested in how to write a book and you haven't before, definitely come follow me on Heart Breathings. It is linked in the description down below. And I have a whole series of videos on how to write a book, how to plot a novel, how to edit your novel, all of that stuff. And there's free downloads for it too. So, all right, you guys, I love you. She was doing a little victory dance. That's so cute. I'll have to rewind it and see. So sorry for the frozenness, but I heard George yelling at me and I was like, what's going on? And then I saw everybody was frozen. So hopefully everybody got back to it and you got to hear the ending. So Venom logo goes with fun cocktails. I know we need to get those little tube shots. Like I really have wanted to do Venom shot glasses. Yeah, exactly. I think they would be cool to do them in all the different like Red Dragon and all the different shots that they have at Venom. So very cool ideas. All right, you guys, thank you for hanging out almost a full hour again today. I cannot thank you enough. I'm going to shut up about it and pre-order the book if you get a chance. Buy some Sir Bean swag. Go ahead and tag us with your hashtags this week, and I'll see you on Wednesday. If you do have any questions, go ahead and shoot them my way through email or through commenting here on the video or on my Instagram and Facebook to say any questions that I can answer for you about the story itself on Wednesday. And I will do that Wednesday. And then Friday, we'll talk about the cast of characters. All right. Love you guys. We will see you soon. See you Wednesday.